Hey, One Punch Man fans, this is Chris Bolt, and you guys know that I have been pretty hard on season 3 for One Punch Man. This show has been plagued with all kinds of problems, animators being overworked, the lack of any type of new information, no key visuals or anything like that, no trailers for the new season. They got some piecemeal things here and there that show up but don't really give you any type of indication about what the new season is going to be about and whatnot. And then the animations and the drawings just look very subpar compared to even to season 2, which most fans that watched the One Punch Man anime all agree is well below the standards of the first season. Well, this video right here, we're going to be looking at Chibi Reviews, and he's going to be talking about One Punch Man Season 3. As you can see from the Twitter X/X posts here from this Donut2X, One Punch Man Season 3 Anime NYC Summary. No staff, no trailer, no key visual, no OP or ED announcement, and less than 2 months away until air, by the way, which is correct. It comes out, and actually it's not... Is this less than 2 months away? No, it's actually less than a month away because we're almost into September. So it's less than a month away. And we still have no information on this. Now, we're going to go ahead and check this out. Make sure you guys go over there and give Chibi Reviews a subscribe. He already's at 484,000. Not like he needs my help or anything like that, but we still want to give credit to the content creator. And if you guys want this video, want to watch this video without my commentary, make sure you go ahead and I'll include it in the description of this video. So make sure you go ahead and watch that if you want to watch that without my commentary. But before I do get into the content, do make sure you like, share, subscribe, turn on those post notifications. All that stuff really does help me out. Without further ado, let's get right off into this.
One of the biggest train wrecks and anime disasters in a long time, and probably one of the biggest anime disasters in the last decade. And every time I look at this situation and every day goes on by, it gets worse and worse, and I'm just left wondering, how can everyone involved in this project for One Punch Man fumble the bag so freaking hard? It's like, it's such an easy series to advertise. It's such an easy series to get right. It is a series that can print money. We live in an era now, in the 2020s, to where a lot of the newcomers and new fans and everything love battle shonen. They love action series. They love flashy animation and art. I mean, we have a lot of examples. Soul Leveling, JJK, Chainsaw Man, Demon Slayer. It's very clear that there is an audience that really loves content like One Punch Man.
Which, by the way, the reason why there's an audience for this in America, in my view, is because we have a lack of any type of action anything in America. We have no action movies. We have no action television shows. We have no action cartoons. And even some of the video games that we have right now, they're not really action oriented. Most of the action stuff that comes to video games is coming from the East. We barely have any of that stuff here in the West. Back when I was growing up, we had all kinds of stuff for action movies. And it could be in any type of genre, Western, science fiction, modern day war, didn't matter. We had that for movies, video games, television, cartoons, but we don't have that now. So all of our young men have gravitated towards anime because anime is filling that niche. This is a failure of American society, American culture, not so much as the popularity of anime, which there is popularity for anime, but this is a failure of American culture. We're not doing things for men. We instead will call men toxic masculinity and all dumb bullshit. We got Disney over there, Variety Magazine, and you guys seen the videos all over the place. You can check it out with Nerd Erotic, the DA, Derek Anderson, Critical Drinker, Film Threat, Jester Bell. All these Ryan Cannell, D-Day Cobra, all these other places that looked at this article from Variety talking about how Disney needs to go and find the male audience again because they fucked up so bad with Marvel and Star Wars, two brands that are geared towards boys and men. They somehow found a way to fuck that shit up. And now men and boys are turning to Japanese to get their fix for action. We're men. We like this kind of stuff. We like fighting. We like conflict being resolved with violence. That's never going away, and the Japanese is meeting that need. American culture is failing. But I digress on that point. I need to make another video on that, a separate video on that. But on this right here, that's why anime is just taking off, because it is meeting that need hand over fist. Although I think Chainsaw Man sucks dick, and I'm never watching that shit, that anti-American prick, but I digress on that point. They are meeting a need.
And it's like One Punch Man was soul leveling before soul leveling, pretty much. Like, it's an easy series. It's kind of like a power fantasy to a degree. Obviously, there's a lot of differences. I know there's differences between soul leveling and One Punch Man, but I'm saying it's just an action series, and it's a really fun action series at that. And when you look at just the market of what people want to watch, One Punch Man just seems like an instant victory. It seems like something that would instantly win over a lot of people, and a lot of people would instantly want to watch and dedicate their time to, and, you know, just want to make this as good looking as possible. And the problem here is that everyone involved working on this project has been radio silent, and the stuff that we have been drip fed has been concerning. And so let's get everybody up to speed and explain what's exactly going on here, and why I'm talking about it, and why a lot of people, the entire community, even accounts, daily accounts, and people that are mega fans of One Punch Man, doom posting about the series, saying that it's so over, we are so cooked. And so, yeah, let's get into that. So first off, today was a anime convention in New York City, and there was a One Punch Man Season 3 panel, and obviously when it comes to, like, these panels for anime conventions and stuff, usually...
But let's take a pause on that for a minute right here. So it was called Anime NYC. They got so many damn anime cons in this country, and so we're going to take a minute, and I want to just take a look and see what we have right here, if they have any type of information that was provided. So this is their website right now. This is One Punch Man special event, The Hero. And I don't see it doesn't show anything right here. Nothing right there. It's the Jam Project. It looks like these guys are a band. Yeah. And look, this guy looks like he's almost 60. Man, nobody cares about the opening theme. We want information about One Punch Man, the show itself. And this is from the booth. Oh. What? What? What is this? What? That's pathetic. That is what they showed at the One Punch Man booth. Oh my God. That's pathetic. That's absolutely pathetic. This show comes out in a month or two. Not a two. This show is coming out in October. There's a week and some change left in August. This is unbelievable. By the way, this is a bad baseball score right here. Red Sox routs the Yankees 12-1. Holy shit. Red Sox over there playing football while the Yankees are playing T-ball. That's embarrassing. But yeah, this back to this over here. This is just absolutely pathetic. Absolutely pathetic. Aniplex and JC staff. What the fuck are you guys doing?
There's announcements. And about a month and a half ago, almost 2 months ago, there was a panel as well, and literally it gave nothing. And a lot of people obviously complained about that, myself included. I even made a dedicated video discussing it. But in that video, I mentioned that there was going to be a new convention, New York's anime convention, and I said we might get some information there, because obviously when the convention happened today, or this week, there's less than a month away, or just a month away until Season 3 is supposed to air. So, obviously, with how close the release date is, you would expect there to be some form of information given. However, once again, that did not happen. There was some information given, but most of it was nothing. It was a nothing burger. So let's get into where we're at right now. So, with 1 month away until One Punch Man Season 3 airs, it's supposed to air, and there's been no delay announcements at this time, we still do not have a staff. No trailer, no new key visual, and we only got the opening and ending announcement with reused assets over it, not even new visuals. This is bad. This is a nuclear bomb basically building up right here. This is about to be a disaster. And here's the thing. What makes this really, really bad, and why a lot of people are now talking about this in a negative light, it's the fact that you're supposed to, at the very least, at this point in time, before a month approaches, before it airs, we're at least supposed to know the director. Like, who's directing it? We're supposed to know some of the staff, but we have nothing. And at this point in time, the way this is looking, there's a few ways to view this. Either A, they're keeping it radio silent, making everybody doom post, and they're trying to make people depressed and think it's so over, which is a very interesting way to market your series, because obviously it can do everlasting damage where people doesn't want to check it out. However, maybe they're doing something smart, reverse psychology, and then when they release the first episode of One Punch Man Season 3, it's going to blow all our minds. It's going to be one of the best things we've ever seen. It's going to make everything just pale in comparison to what One Punch Man Season 3 has to offer. Obviously, we don't live in a perfect world, and I don't think we live in a world like that where that's happening, so I do not think we live in a reality to where they're keeping radio silent and everything hush-hush this long till a month releases and not giving us anything. I think, in general, the reason why they are not giving us anything is probably because they don't have a lot to show, or what they do have to show is, not good. It's so bad, in fact, that they're embarrassed to show it, but they have to release it because of deadlines and, just...
This is Cyberpunk 2077 all over again. And if you guys, for those of you who are not familiar with Cyberpunk 2077, that game was announced, I want to say back in 2015. And then for a long time, CD Projekt Red went radio silent. And then they kept dropping tidbits here, tidbits here. But they were really not releasing any kind of information. And then one day at one E3, I think back in 2018 or 19, they decided to go ahead and drop a presentation that had the entire world hyped, and everybody was expecting that the game would be playing like this. But then after they did that, there was still no more information. And then they announced that the game was going to come out in 2020. Then it got delayed again. No more information, some tidbits here and there. But as it got closer and closer to the release date, I think they finally released it in 2022. Well, let me see. Let's be more accurate. Let's not be beating around the bush. Cyberpunk 2077 release date was, now it was not July 17, 2025. It definitely wasn't that. Let's see here. It was released on, it was released on 2020. So that's when it was released. So that means that the game was actually, I want to say that the initial announced date for Cyberpunk 2077 wasn't 2015. It was probably somewhere earlier than that. There you go. So 2000, I thought it was 2011. So right after, because it was right after Witcher 2 was announced, and then Witcher 3 came out. But anyway, bottom line is this, is that when it was announced, when it was finally released or getting close to the release date, there was still no real information about the game. And then suddenly out of the blue, some people was able to start playing it, but they couldn't do any type of reviews on it, or rather use any of their own recordings when they did the reviews. They had to use predetermined assets from CD Projekt Red itself. But then once the game was fully launched, it was a broken mess. That's the same thing that I'm getting right here with One Punch Man. No, this is not going to be a situation where they're doing reverse psychology, where this game is going to be a huge hit or it's going to have a very impressive first episode. But even if he did, a very first impressive episode don't mean shit, because if you guys are familiar with Uzumaki, the very first episode of Uzumaki was damn near perfect. But then the quality of that show fell off immediately within the second episode, and people were pissed. So that would still be a very sure situation with One Punch Man if the very first episode is phenomenal, but then all the remaining episodes are just shit, piles of shit. I'm starting to think I'm more on the side of where Chibi's at, where whatever they have, they're just going to put it out there because they need to meet deadlines, which is the same thing that Cyberpunk did. They released Cyberpunk 2077 because they needed to meet deadlines. They needed to meet the deadlines for whatever fiscal year they were in to meet shareholder targets. It wasn't because they wanted they wanted to release a game that actually was of good quality. It was because they needed to meet shareholder deadlines. It's the same thing here. They need to release something because they just have so much on their plate and have nothing to show for it. And all of us are all going to be made suckers once we watch the final product.
Just getting things out in a certain amount of time, because obviously they probably have contracts or whatever that need to be fulfilled, so things just need to be pumped out, and they can't delay it any longer. There's a few ways now to really look at this entire situation. First off, I think that everybody can see the writing on the walls. One Punch Man Season 3, it's done. I think that it's over. I don't think it's going to be a good season. There might be moments that might stand out, but I think overall it's going to be just a straight up massive downgrade from Season 2. I'm not even talking about Season 1. I didn't expect to have Season 1 quality, but I feel like it's going to be such a massive step down from Season 2. It's going to make you feel disgusted just comparing Season 2 with Season 3. That's what I think is going to happen. It's going to be so bad, in fact, that I think a lot of people are going to try to erase Season 3 from their mind and act like it doesn't even exist. I feel like we have a potential The Promised Neverland Season 2, like, ending part, or the Seven Deadly Sins Season 3 and onward type scenes for whatever's about to happen in One Punch Man Season 3, which let's get into a few things. So, with no staff listing at this time, what I think about this situation is that I feel like the people involved are embarrassed, and they probably don't want their name associated or even attached.
And wasn't there a animator director that said he was embarrassed by what was being put out? Let's see. Because I remember reading a story where he said he was embarrassed. If I can spell embarrassed correctly. I'm losing motivation, animator says. One said, I'm starting to lose motivation, and the other said, I'm afraid my lack of animation skills will be revealed. So yeah, there's already been that type of situation where these animators are embarrassed with the work because it's being rushed. There's not any type of quality control in place. There's no director, no one to give any type of guidance or direction. And they're and this show is supposed to come out in October, which is just unbelievable that we still have this type of stuff happening in the modern era. It'd be much rather if they would just go and say, we're going to delay One Punch Man Season 3 by a year as opposed to releasing garbage. But they're going to release garbage because they got to meet a deadline.
to the product. Because I know of animators I have personally talked with that can get their names scratched from the credits. For instance, when an episode comes out for, let's say, ReZero or something, they can ask the director or the people that are working on the episode to remove their name from the credits where they're not credited whatsoever. And the reason for this could be a variety of different reasons, but one reason in particular, it's because maybe the animator is not proud of their work, they're not proud of what they've done, and so they just don't want their name associated with the episode at all. And so in this case, I feel like this is systematically what's potentially going on for One Punch Man Season 3, that a lot of animators and staff that's working on it probably doesn't even want their name associated with the project because it's actually just that bad. I could be entirely wrong, obviously, though. I mean, I'm not obviously working on One Punch Man Season 3, but it is odd. It's not normal. Anyone trying to act like it's normal that there has been literally no new information for One Punch Man Season 3 when it's literally going to air in a month from now is lying to themselves if they think it's a-okay, that the series is in good hands. Like I said, the only reality that it's okay is that they've been tricking and lying to us for this long to lower expectations down so low that when it does come out, it's just going to blow our minds. And I don't think that's going to be the case. So, what's the options here? Well, the only option really to salvage this, I think, is to delay it. But I don't think that's going to happen. And the reason why I don't think that's going to happen is one big indication. And that's the fact that we had an announcement for who is doing the opening song. For instance, Baby Metal is working on the opening song, which pretty good. I like their music. They're really good. But the problem is that means that they have a contract. They have done an obligation contract and all that, like the staff, the people working on One Punch Man, they've requested Baby Metal to work with them. So they've already paid them, so to speak. Which means that they would lose money if they delay it. They would 100% lose money. That's not including about the broadcasting slots, the slots on TV and stuff in Japan. If they were to delay it, they would lose money out there as well. So overall, they're going to lose a lot of money if they potentially delay the product. But obviously, you might think to yourselves, like, it would probably be a better idea because obviously the series isn't ready yet. But that's probably not what the bigwigs and the investors are thinking. They might be at this point in time just being like, let's just try to make as much money as we can from this and then just move on. Take it as a tax write-off or whatever.
And that, I mentioned that earlier. They're not going to delay it, which would be the optimal solution, delay it by a year. But again, they're not going to delay it because they have deadlines to meet and they have people to satisfy. Like if they have this contract with this group here, Jam Project featuring Baby Metal, then they want to get paid and they want to, because a lot of times this anime is marketing material for these groups because that helps them sell albums, that helps them get out in the public eye, helps them get studio gigs, helps them get concert contracts, and putting out that delay or delaying the project would actually hurt their bottom line. So they're probably saying, "Nah, we want this going out." Truthfully, I'm like this. I don't think a lot of these bands really care about these anime. I don't think they really care. They, as busy as they probably are, they don't have time to really sit down and watch anime or anything like that. And their business is J-pop, not anime. Now, there might be crossover between the two audiences, but they are worried about their core product more than the anime, which is the animation studio's concern. So I wholeheartedly agree with Chibi on that. And we're going to get a shoddy product because at the end of the day, this is just going to hurt the reputation of Aniplex and JC staff. And whatever channel is going to be airing this crock of shit. But of course, at Crunchyroll, I think they're carrying it. So Crunchyroll, they've aired all kinds of crock of shit. Like you said, Promised Neverland season 2 was just garbage. Tower of God season 2 was just garbage. And don't get me started on stuff like Gibiate and other nonsense that appeared on Crunchyroll. So yeah, that delay would be the most optimal solution, but it's not going to happen. Too many parties involved are relying upon this being released.
However, that's what it more or less is starting to look like, which is pretty sad, honestly, how One Punch Man is being treated. I think that, though, with the announcement like this, yeah, it's probably not getting delayed. So, yeah, to make a long story short, I think we are about to see one of the craziest downfalls for an anime. A high-profile anime at that. Because this is much different than the beginning after the end. I know a lot of people might want to bring that up for this discussion of, like, for instance, One Punch Man. Some people might bring up, let's say, X-Arm or whatever. But the problem is that One Punch Man is a very recognizable property. It's a very big product. It's going to do so much brand damage when Season 3 releases, and it's in a very bad state. It will do so much damage, in fact, that it's very likely we might not even ever get a Season 4. That's how bad it will potentially be handled. Like, if Season 3 is that bad, they might not ever want to touch a Season 4. So yeah, I think everybody kind of gets that point, which once again is crazy because, like I said, the industry is obviously gearing towards the trend of stuff like One Punch Man, so it's strange to me to not let it be better and advertise it. It's strange, man. I'll leave it at that, though. I wanted to talk.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I completely agree that these companies care more about the bottom line than the actual product itself, which is sad. Because One Punch Man, that is a big downfall from grace. Season 1 was phenomenal. But then Season 2 came along, that was subpar mediocre, and then the announcement for Season 3 came, and then no news, and then this trickle of issues and problems just started coming out. And now we are almost upon the precipice of its release date, and we still don't know anything about the show. We still don't have any of the things that were mentioned up there. No staff, no trailer, no key visuals. We do have the opening theme announcement, but other than that, nothing. And the manga is just as tortured too, but at least they still are able to put a product out. But again, if the brand damage will be immense, because I don't think anybody's going to care about One Punch Man if Season 3 happens to be so atrocious. It's going to be a great downfall if Season 3 is just god awful. But I'll leave it at that. If you guys want to watch this video without my commentary, I will link it in the description. Make sure you guys do go over to Chibi Reviews, give him a like this video just like I did. And make sure you like my video, share it, subscribe, turn on post notifications, comment, all that stuff really does help me out. And remember, this is Chris Bolt signing off, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Take it easy.